STEM. Humanities. STEM is the field that prepares you for the real world, and it's producing graduates that are furthering the world in technology. What is the humanities providing to the economy and the world besides critical thinking skills and team building, skills that are also taught in STEM? A lot of these factors are fueled by universities funding these programs, for good or for bad. Now with that thought in mind, if you really think about all these factors and where they have proliferated from, they're probably from the government. Now you may ask, how much money of the government budget is really spent on education? According to 2018 secondary education government data, the federal government spends just under $55 billion per year on K-12 education, in addition to outlays for early childhood education and post-secondary programs like loans and grants for college tuition. So obviously, most of this money is going towards good causes and not necessarily towards the pocket of the management of these schools. Now that we have that in mind, let's talk about how the government actually funds these programs and indirectly pushes STEM over the humanities. As you can see, it has been in effect for a very long time, and it certainly isn't stopping now, especially with new developments in technology such as VR and aerospace. And many employers benefit off of this budgeting in general. Bringing in STEM graduates brings in improved productivity, reduced cost, increased competitiveness, improved brand recognition and value, new partnerships and relationships, increased turnover, and improved profitability. A lot of these effects could possibly be because of a person's STEM education, but only if the school emphasizes entrepreneurial skills more than just rote learning skills, which is usually not the case in many schools right now. But it could be that kids are already interested in STEM education, and it's not just about being in it for the money. According to EdSource.gov, it calls for nearly $400 million for programs promoting science, technology, engineering, and math education, ranging from STEM teacher recruitment to after-school coding classes to tech internships for high school students. But as you can tell, that is a lot of money. Doesn't it seem quite expensive to fund STEM right now? And what is the real point of funding STEM if it's so expensive right now? Well, it goes without saying that funding STEM does produce results that boost the university's status as having strong programs in such a leading field in the world today. But do these results really show that STEM is worth pursuing? From a business and capitalistic perspective, it makes sense. There are many instances of students succeeding in STEM fields, even if they don't major in something that could arguably make them more attractive to employers, like business. But attaining that degree? Many students cite STEM being very unforgiving in general. The teachers act as gatekeepers to the degrees, the students harbor an overtly competitive attitude, and there's way more content to learn for these students to be seen as applicable to jobs in general than in the humanities, which will only increase as changes in the field get reflected in curricula. Anyways, boosting the university's status clearly does not involve fields such as the humanities, as they don't do much to make the university seem like they are putting an effort to make the students well-rounded, apparently. The humanities are largely unchanging. Just look at any curriculum current day, which is mainly due to less funding and less potential in the field as a whole, as seen by teachers and administrators. And because of the results of this education, a lot of people are not willing to go into the humanities to risk their futures. Even the students themselves don't see this field as applicable to real life, and thus the field doesn't get any funding from not only universities but the government itself. The government clearly benefits from innovation, as seen in STEM graduates working in STEM companies, as it brings in more tax money than people in the humanities. The support for STEM makes sense, but for humanities, the increasing pressure for creating graduates that are technology literate, along with skills emphasized in the humanities, i.e. communication, teamwork building, etc., which is quite ironic. It only shows that you need both fields to be taught to students to properly be well-rounded people, not only in the corporate circle, but life in general. But then what about this? According to an Insider Higher Ed article, a $60,000 per year history professor teaching 200 students a semester, for example, can generate surplus revenue so that a $130,000 per year engineering professor can teach 30 students a semester. Now this is an interesting point to bring up, as this shows that there can be a way to elevate both fields without losing benefits from the government, each other, and the students. But this is only an ideal, and isn't reflected in monetary means or the trends of today. Hopefully students will not have to fear too much about the job market to get into the humanities. Overall, the improvements, especially in the humanities, need to be made with this idea in mind, making both fields bring graduates that not only have the skills that STEM and humanities promise, but also secure students in the future, not just financially so, but emotionally and mentally so as well.